So here I am, Dr. Amy Breeze Harper. It's November 8th, 2011. I'm talking to you from the lovely area of Berkeley, California. And I want to talk about some diversity, equity, and inclusion trends that I've seen. So as I've been exploring the world of diversity and inclusion positions offered in the Silicon Valley and San Francisco Bay Area, I've found that some companies understand what they're looking for, while others don't quite understand how D&I, or diversity and inclusion, should play into their goals, and what types of positions they should create to meet these benchmarks. Some are unknowingly unclear on how to even define the D&I position they think they need to fill. Some unfortunately show on their job application created for the position that they struggle with certain concepts, such as how gender, race, or even how diversity are defined. And I just want to share with you some of my thoughts. First of all, be specific in how your organization or company uses the concept, quote unquote, diversity and inclusion. Diversity and inclusion is often depicted as this abstract and vague concept. Be specific. Listing a job description for a D&I position with something like, quote, "We seek a diversity and inclusion expert to help create an inclusive environment," end quote, is too broad. It shows that the team who wrote up the job description, they don't completely understand how D&I operates or how that role will play into the values and goals of that organization. For the D&I related job description, define how your organization engages with the concept of D&I. Now, it can be simple as stating, quote, "We know that D&I is a broad concept. However, at Morrison & Associates, we have noted that our inclusion practices tend to target gender and age minorities first and foremost. After initial assessment of our work climate, a third-party consultancy revealed that women and people over the age of 50 do not feel welcome. This D&I position will have specific focus on ageism and gender discrimination and how we can prevent this as our first steps. We also understand how factors such as socioeconomic class, sexual orientation, race, and ability play into how inclusive our work climate is," end quote. So think about making it specific. Let the candidate know what exactly they'll be doing as a D&I leader. Next, let's talk about gender and race versus biological sex assignment and ethnicity. So it almost always never fails. I'll look through an application created for a D&I role, often with a company or organization that already has at least one position doing D&I related role that's already been filled. I complete these applications to get a sense of how language used in recruitment can become marginalizing sometimes. On many of these applications, I'll read about statements of commitment to create an inclusive workplace culture. And at the end of the application, I must answer the standard demographic questions. And then it happens. I'm asked what my gender is, and I almost always am given these choices: male or female. If your organization is seeking someone to do D&I work, or even not, and your demographics questions show that your team doesn't know the difference between biological sex assignment, i.e. male, female, intersex, versus gender, i.e. woman, man, non-binary, genderqueer, etc., this is problematic, and it shows a low literacy around gender identity and how systemic sexism and transphobia actually operate. Make sure your application's demographics questions understand concepts like gender, as well as the difference between race and ethnicity. In quotes, race is a social construct created within a racial caste system that is constantly changing, but has real material, political, economic, etc. consequences, especially in the United States. Race, originally based on phenotypes and pseudoscientific biological differences of human beings, positioned certain Euro-Anglocentric looking people at the top of the social hierarchy and called them quote-unquote white, and not everyone was let into that club, even if they did have whiter skin and straighter hair. For example, Italians, Polish, and Irish people are now considered white in the United States, but were not in the 19th and earlier part of the 20th century. Also, it gets even more trickier. Hispanic is not a race, so avoid putting it under the race category. Hispanic usually indicates that one is from a Spanish-speaking nation or speaks Spanish as a first language, but its connotations are in Mexico, South America, and Central America. Ask your colleagues responsible for creating job applications what their strategy for using terms like race or ethnicity are. or even why they're using the term Hispanic. Often, people may mean Latinx, but then use Hispanic and conflate the two. Overall, consider learning the nuanced differences when asking a candidate's voluntary information about their identity. If your team doesn't understand these nuanced but important differences, it can show that your D&I claims may be more cosmetic than serious, especially if you claim to already have other D&I roles in place at your organization and your D&I specialists have yet to figure out how to create an application that reflects a higher literacy around D&I concepts such as race, gender, and ethnicity. Who am I? I am Dr. Breeze Harper. I'm a Senior Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategist, and I'm the founder at Critical Diversity Solutions. Feel free to contact me after this video and the information provided at breeze@criticaldiversitysolutions.com. I'd love to hear what you think. Thank you.